gets broke. Proving once again this country's justice is a joke. I'm in love with the system.
Hi, welcome to the Great White North Report. I'm your host, Roman de Sylvie. It's official, Canadians. The 2019 federal election campaign is now underway. Yesterday, Prime Minister Trudeau launched the election on September 11th. For the next 40 days, it'll be all election talk in Canada, which is pretty boring mostly. Basically, you're going to have three main parties to choose from, unless you're in Quebec, and then you have a fourth option. And then there's the outside Green Party, which really doesn't have a hope in hell of ever winning the election. Let's take a look at some of the headlines that are going on right now. So on September 11th, Trudeau asked the Governor General to dissolve Parliament, and we now have 40 days in which to pick a new leader. This is at the same time the new questions are emerging in the SNC-Lavalin scandal that's been going on for the past year, and that will definitely impact Trudeau's bid for re-election. As for myself, I perfectly understand that every government has at least one scandal in their 4-year term, so this doesn't really affect me that much. It could be worse. Now, Trudeau is obviously claiming that we've done a lot together these past 4 years. I haven't really seen that much of that. Nothing's really changed for me, except for we got a new carbon tax. That's about all I can see. And the Liberals have started kicking off their campaign by massively funding the media. Now, the Conservatives and the NDP have also been doing the same thing. Now, there is going to be lots of talk about the Lavalin scandal. His opponents are going to use that to the best of their ability and keep bringing it up and bringing it into focus. Again, I think that's less of a concern to me than what else has been going on, than one scandal. According to this article, police say that his government is blocking their investigation into the SNC-Lavalin scandal. Now, Trudeau was forced to call a vote due to the recent changes to the Elections Act that now have a designated fixed election date, and which really sucks because the timing wasn't all that great, as the Liberal government has been stymied efforts by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police to begin a preliminary investigation into the SNC-Lavalin scandal. And he's been accused by the former federal attorney general of judicious interference on behalf of the Quebec contractor. It appears that Jody Wilson-Raybould taped her conversations with Trudeau and appeared before the House of Commons Justice Committee to say that she felt pressured by Trudeau to intervene in a criminal prosecution of SNC-Lavalin. And that's one of the reasons why she resigned from Trudeau's cabinet. Former Health Minister Jane Philpott also quit the federal cabinet before the Prime Minister rejected both of them from the Liberal caucus. So this has been a big scandal that's been going on for the past year with Trudeau's Liberal government. And that's going to hurt his chances for re-election. Now, when he did call the election, he also listed his achievements, which was the biggest one was renegotiating North America's free trade agreement at a time of U.S. protectionism with Trump. That was more of a win-win for the U.S. than it was for Canada, and we really didn't have a lot of pull in that, though Christy Freeland did what she could at the time. And he's also warning his audience about returning to the politics of Stephen Harper years. So basically, with Canadian politics, you have three main parties to choose from, and depending where you are, if you're in Quebec, you have a fourth option, and also there's some fringe parties like the Green Party is the most popular of the fringe parties. According to this Maclean's Magazine article, the battle lines are already drawn for 2019. Three issues and one wildcard will dominate the next election and determine the fate of Trudeau Liberals. So here we have, for the Progressive Conservatives, you have Andrew Scheer, Jagmeet Singh, who's running for the New Democratic Party, or the NDP, and you have Justin Trudeau for the Liberals. Now, the problem with politics is that you generally don't know who the opposition members are until about a year from the election itself. I never heard of Andrew Scheer until this year, even though I guess he was elected to the House of Commons back in 2006, and was one of the youngest members ever to serve at the age of 25. He was also Speaker of the House of Commons. But other than that, he's had really no impact on my life. But maybe as Prime Minister, he will. As for Jagmeet Singh, I know he took control of the NDP sometime last year, in 2018. He became the front runner. And again, I don't really know that much about him other than that he's a Sikh. And that doesn't really bother me, because I never have voted NDP at any time in my life. I've usually flip-flopped between Conservatives and Liberals. I consider myself more of a centralist. Sometimes I lean to the left, sometimes I lean to the right, depending what the issue is. Now, one of the big issues is going to be the climate change strategy and the whole carbon tax idea. I'm opposed for the carbon tax. I don't like it. It's just another tax that we don't need, and another way for the government to get more money to do little with other than waste it. Is climate change a big issue? Of course it is. We're in a stage of global warming, and what we do is obviously affecting the climate, but we're such small scale that it's impossible until you get every country working together on the same page and doing the same thing, then it'll never happen if they don't. So the whole carbon pricing thing is ridiculous. It should be scrapped, and that's it. The other one that's going to be a big issue is also the Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion. The Federal Court of Appeal on August 31st of this year heated up the environment and energy file even more by forcing the Trudeau government to launch further review of Indigenous and environmental issues surrounding the Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion. This has been going on for years. Now, we do need a Trans Mountain Pipeline, or some kind of pipeline. Our natural resources, mainly oil and natural gas, closer to where they can be exported. Now, other issues will be obviously immigration and border crossing asylum seekers. As far as immigration goes, myself, I'm okay with immigration, where we exactly allow immigrants from. So I'm for selective immigration, not for tear the wall down immigration, where anyone can get in. Agree with border crossing asylum seekers? No. Usually asylum seekers coming to Canada from the United States are either already criminals or they're already illegal aliens themselves. Now, people think handling Trump when it comes to trade, tariffs, and the future of NAFTA is going to be one of the issues. No, I don't think so. The NAFTA deal is there. All that has to be done is ratified and it should be good to go. Is it the best deal for Canada? Probably not. But it's the best we could get at the time because Trump was pretty hardcore on getting what he needed. I say the biggest thing for the next government would be how to handle China, how to get the most out of that. Now, there's also the issue of expanding universal health care with some form of prescription drug coverage. Now, my own workplace, I get full benefits. So I'm not really interested in universal health care, though, because of the price tag involved. Now, prescription drug coverage, I agree with that, because prescription drugs can be quite expensive. But then again, if it can also be abused. So that's a tricky one, going with that. Universal health care is just so expensive right now. And the people who don't use it are going to have to pay for the people who do use it a lot. So it's a catch-22. Now, I also found this one online. It's called Too Close to Call, and it's looking at the Canadian election simulator, and it does a pretty good job. It's predicting what's going to happen. Even goes per seat. I don't know how the numbers here are not the current projections based on the latest polls. It's just a simulator available to the public where everyone can enter his or her percentages, and it's likely to be modified. So looking at this, it looks like the Conservatives are strongest in the West, so the Prairies, Alberta, and doing okay in Ontario. The biggest problem they're going to have is obviously Quebec and the Atlantic provinces, as well as BC. BC is usually more of a Liberal stronghold. The Liberals are pretty much holding steady everywhere but Alberta, where they're not too popular. And the NDP, they're doing what they usually do in the official opposition party. I think the only time was with Layton. Jack Layton was in. And the Green Party holds steady where it is as a fringe party. BC is its strongest support, while for the NDP, the Prairies are generally their strongest support. The Bloc Québécois, their only area is Quebec. So they're again projecting a Liberal landslide, with the Conservatives gaining from last time because they lost a lot of seats the last time, and the NDP actually losing seats. The Green Party might get 2 seats, mostly in BC, which is their strongest support. I personally see the Liberals winning the election again, just based on the popularity of Justin Trudeau and his pretty little face with the rest of, because that's what Canadians are going to look at, especially the younger ones who don't know anything. Though I think he's not going to have as clear a majority as he did last time. The Conservatives are going to surprise a lot of people and come back. They're going to take a lot of votes from the NDP. I think Canadians are getting sick of the Liberal model and are going to start shifting back to the right. The Green Party is, as it always is, just a fringe party, and will get mostly far left votes. The Bloc Québécois will get the far right votes in Quebec. I myself would probably vote Conservative this time, though a friend of mine is running for the Liberal Party in my riding, so that puts me in a dilemma. For me, what's the biggest thing issue is how we deal with China. I wasn't at all pleased with what China's been doing to Canada, and I think we should take steps to send our message forcefully. And I've already listed a whole 7 things we could do, and I'm all for a hardline response to China. I'm all for upgrading our military, as it's an embarrassment what we have and how we defend our country. The fact we can't is mind-boggling, and something should be done with that. I'm also not for giving away money for foreign aid. The amount we give each year for foreign aid is ridiculous. The money there could be used in healthcare and in our military. And I'm also lukewarm on immigration. I'm for selective immigration and not open borders. So I'm predicting myself a Liberal victory. They'll probably get about around 190 seats, which is a lot. They're going to lose about 40 seats. The Conservatives are going to come up. Most of their seats will come in the prairies, Alberta, and Ontario. The Liberals will probably sweep the Atlantic provinces, and the NDP will be all over the place. While the Green Party will get theirs only in BC, and the Bloc Québécois will get theirs in Quebec. Unless there's another party that splits the vote somewhere, like another fringe party, like Maxime Bernier is trying to get a party together, and it might split the Conservative vote. So we'll see how that goes. Gonna keep an eye on the election, keep updating. I'm currently looking at what each party has outlined as their program, and we'll go from there. Anyway, until next time, this is Romain Deslavie. I'm out of here.
Don't care for issues like national unity or conscription or who wants a pour de Louis. Donnez Louis, ce qu'ils j'en choisirai. Vive le Québec libre, vive la souveraineté,